department, I would like to request Mr. Paresh Mayani.
I'm blogger, as lady has mentioned. I'm a blogger, Android developer, and DZone has given me a title as most valuable blogger, and many more. How many of you are aware about StackOverflow? Anyone? StackOverflow. So anyway, let's start with Android Studio introduction. First of all, when it was announced, Android Studio, it is already a year. So it was announced during Google I/O 2013. How many of you are Android developer here? Fully student? How many of you are student? How many of you are Android developer? Okay. So are you all using Eclipse or NetBeans IDE? That's good. That's good for me and for this talk, so that I can compare with Eclipse as well as NetBeans as well as Android Studio, and you can have better idea if, whether we should use Eclipse or NetBeans or Android Studio. Now I hope you have seen this. How many of you have downloaded Android Studio? Okay. And how many of you are already aware about cool features of Android Studio? Advantages and cool features. Have you done comparison between Eclipse and Android Studio?
Well, actually, I used Android Studios, but in my Ubuntu, I had some issues. So
I will come back to that point. There are many issues, and it's actually a IO 13 preview version, so it's getting improved slowly and gradually. So by the way, what is Android Studio? Anyone? What is exactly Android Studio? Okay, so the first point is I'm sure you have seen this screen on the Android Studio. First is Android Focused IDE. Android Focused IDE. Till today, what we are using? Eclipse. So it is not focused for Android developers. You can use Eclipse for PHP or any development. Here we are having Android Studio especially for Android development. So that's cool. So designed specially for Android development, and similar to Eclipse with additive plugin. For all beginners, it's similar to Eclipse, but it's giving you a tool and some frameworks library to start with Android development. So now we are moving towards IntelliJ IDEA. So why a new IDE? So why should we need one IDE? So the reason is, this is an Eclipse for Android. Able to download or include libraries in your Android product. So now, what is the difference between? Is it visible?
Yeah.
So what is the difference between Android Studio and IntelliJ IDEA? As I mentioned, Android Studio, IntelliJ IDEA, and Android Studio. So actually, it is based on Android. IntelliJ IDEA, but still there are differences. So if you are using IntelliJ right now, then keep using it. So now the question is, then give it a try, download it, and at least look at the screen. So now you might be having many questions and so many doubts, like what are the difference between, why should we use Android Studio, why should not we use this one, IntelliJ IDEA. So the FAQ link is given here. It contains all the details. Now, so where can I download Android Studio? So link is developer.android.com/sdk/installing/studio.html. Anyone is writing down link? Powerful code editing. Second is rich layout editor. Rich You don't need to note this all the point. You will get a slide at the end of this session itself. So you will get a link. So don't note down all the points, but just note down the links which I will be speaking. So second is rich layout editor. How it is a good feature? Why? As soon as you drag and drop on the layout, it gives you a preview. As gentleman said, it gives you preview in all the resolution: portrait, landscape, Nexus 4, Nexus 7, Nexus 10. Third is Gradle based build support. All other are copy pasting library in your libs folder and saying that add to build path, right? What if right now I am having Facebook, let's say 1.6 SDK version. Facebook SDK, I have Facebook 1.6 library. What if Facebook will release new library? Labor work, you have to copy paste again 1.7 version to your list folder. We have to do it again and again. Instead of that, give just a create Android application project, and you have to give main activity name, launcher activity name, and everything. You have to give. Right now, it's having a wizard base. Means you have to create new application name, then you can generate a layout, you can declare it as a launcher, and like that. So we are having a template based wizard. We just have to go step by step to create a simple hello world application. When I started in Android 1.5 version, it was 7 days took me to create a single application, hello world application. Installing Android and running a single hello world application was around 7 days. So right now we are having just a 5 minute of steps. Lint tool analysis. How many of you have heard about lint tool? Lint. What lint tool is exactly about? Yes. I'm not getting your language. Sorry, I am Indian. So okay. So lint tool analysis is while creating and designing layout. Whenever you write code, XML layout code, if you made any mistake, then it gives you error that you are doing this. Like just same as our JIT compiler, just-in-time compiler. As we are writing code in Java code, it gives you error at a time you writing. Same as in XML layout, it gives you exception or error. Okay, if you have written text view, T capital, instead of that you have written small t, so it gives you error. Okay, you are doing these mistakes. Easy access to Google services. Easy access to Google service. Right now, what we are doing in Eclipse, we have to copy paste every libraries and has to set up everything for using Google services like GCM. What does GCM mean?
Google Cloud Manager.
Yeah, Google Cloud Messaging Service. How many of you are having Android device? So you must be getting notification, free application, please download, please rate us, spam kind of notifications. So it's all by GCM kind of stuff, notification, push notification. Now Gradle. Now we are coming at Gradle. What does it mean, Gradle? Anyone wants to explore? No one? I think I have to keep some prize and swag. Whoever gives answer, I will give you this swag. I do this kind of activity at my GDG. So Gradle is actually a new build system, right? It's nothing new to the title. The new build system. Please note down the icon or picturize the icon. You may get in your interview question what is this icon. So this is a Gradle icon. So now Gradle is an advanced build management system based on the Groovy. Groovy is one of scripting language. So it's an advanced build management system. Right now you may be using Ant or Maven. Ant script, Ant script, and you may be using this one, Maven. So now it's an open source build system. Combines the power of Ant and Maven. I will picturize you difference between Ant, Maven, and Gradle. So features and benefits of Gradle. Features and benefits of Gradle. First is dependency management. As I mentioned, all of you are using Eclipse and you are copy pasting library in your libs folder and saying X to build path, right? So you are depending on that library. Whenever it launches a new version of Facebook or Twitter or any library, right? You have to download one new library again and paste that library into your libs folder. So it means that we are depending on that stuffs. So Gradle helps us to resolve that dependency. Point is clear? I will picturize these all points in 3 snaps only, so you will get a better idea. A single build system means that you can build your application either by using command prompt or by IDE. Directly you can click on run or build from menu, right? So it will build your Android application. Now these are the advantages of using Android Studio. Product flavors, build variants, build type means that how many of you are working in a MNC company? Means multinational or having more than 100 of people staff? No one? All of you are as me. So product flavor. For example, just let me give you an example. For example, we are having QA, quality assurance department, right? We have to give build to testing for the testing, and we are having our own uploading version. So we are having 2 flavors of APK required. So using Gradle, you can generate variant of application, different versions of APK file, build your final build. Is it clear? Binary bundles for library means that .aar is the format. Same like our jar folder, it supports AAR folder, AAR library. Now dependency management. What does it mean? Now let's go to a picture. Eclipse, you may be using Eclipse, so it supports Ant script. So now what does it mean? At one side you are having your source code file here, and lives are all stored together. Clear? You are one project, and whenever you run, it will generate a final APK. That's it. That's all we are doing. Clear? We are having a final one whole project at a one place. We run it, and it will generate a final build. We are depending on library. Now here we are having Maven builds. We are having source code file compile with Maven. The picture is not looking clear. It's an icon of Maven. So now as I mentioned in Ant script, what we are doing, we are just copy pasting library to our libs folder. But here you may have heard about this one central repository. I am not sure, Maven centralrepository.com. So from where you can note down one link and give to your this library pom.xml. So it will automatically download your all dependencies in your project, for your project. So here whenever you compile project, it will compile project using Maven. It will read pom.xml and download all your dependency from central repository. Now it gives you final APK file. So here we are having one advantage, that we don't have to depend on different libraries and dependencies that our project is having, maybe having. Now Gradle build, as I have been mentioning, like I will picturize you clear stuff. Here it is. So now you are having all your source code file and Gradle. We are compiling and building a final build using Gradle. So it will read Gradle.build. Here we are having Gradle.build file. It will read Gradle.build file and it will download all your Maven central repository, where you can use local files and whole project itself. Like instead of using Facebook library, what if I want to use a Facebook project as a Facebook library as a project? So you can have a whole project. Now it will gives you these three build, QA and release. Debug, QA and release. If you are working in a large MNC company, then you may be having a staff of like QA department, your boss and your developer team. So who can help you to debug and QA of your application. So here we can have different flavors of builds. Is it clear? Picture is clear? Difference between Ant, Maven and Gradle. Is it clear? Are you all sleeping? Yeah. Don't say yeah, please. So now, what if we are using Eclipse version, and now what if I want to migrate to Gradle based support, Gradle build system? So here it is a link, developer.android.com/SDK installing migrate. It contains all the steps, how can you migrate, but here I have one snap. It gives you a clear idea. Okay, like generate Gradle build files, that's it. You have to click on export, and there over there you will find generate Gradle build based build files, that's it. Awesome stuff inside. Now you will be enjoying. I'm sure you are waiting for these stuffs, and you may be you might have get bored with all the theory. Now first is, it's a Dracula theme, not Dracula. Dracula. Yeah. Whenever you search on Google and type search Android Studio Dracula theme, so it will gives you lots of results. But if you search Dracula, it don't gives you any result. But it's actually a Dracula. How can I set this black theme? How can I set this black theme? So here it is, file setting, ID setting, appearance and theme Dracula. So it's actually a different environment for us. We all are working in a white background Eclipse. Here we are having black with orange, green and different colors. Now as gentleman has said, we can preview all the screens. Like what if we don't have any device, right? So we can preview it in while preparing and designing layout. We can preview your layout in different screens, like in Nexus 4, Nexus 7, Nexus 10 or different devices like we are having here. Clear? So I am sure most of students don't have any Android device to start with Android application development. Here you can develop by using emulator. Okay, emulator. So how many of you are using Eclipse, native Android emulator? Native one, or you are developing application by using your own device. Native emulator you are using, right? Please support me. I am just asking a question so that I can give you a better ready-made food. So how many of you are using native emulator? I am sure you are like that Eclipse wala picture. Ki, what the hell yaar ki slowing speed is slow. It don't support you well, right? So for designing, for testing your Android application, you can download Genymotion emulator. Genymotion. Should I give you a demo? Genymotion. Please note down. It is not in my slide. So it is genymotion.com. One of the, it says it's a rocket speed emulator. Let me give you a demo. It is with this side, double zero kind of. You have to download this Genymotion tool from genymotion.com. You have to create one user, then it will allow you to download. Let it runs. I will give you. Though I have mentioned it's a rocket speed emulator, but it's taking a time. Same as our Android device, you can play, you can download any game. How many of you have heard about Gradle for playing games? So same as BlueStack, here we have genymotion.com. So you can better test your application by using Gradle. It actually increase your productivity time. Instead of waiting for years super fast. Just do it in your Android native emulator, so you will realize. So all the screens. Here we have a small icon, preview. You need to select option, preview all screens. Screenshot of application. So here we are having one facility, device frame screen capture. Device frame screen capture. So these are the options. Frame capture, drop shadow, and screen glare. Instead of a simple screen, if you are a fan of shadow and glare, then you can capture your application snapshot with using these two options. Should I give you a demo of this live demo? Color preview. We have to use color picker and find it out which color is this. Like hash FFF 000. What is the color here? I don't know. So here in Android Studio, if you write hash FFF 000, it will give you a color preview. Which color is the exactly? Clear? So that was the job. Now, just before today, Android Studio has received one update, and it's having color preview activity class. Like in activity class, if you use any color from colors.xml, right? So in the colors.xml, I have color preview. But what if I am using color resource from colors.xml in my activity class? So here it's also giving a color preview. It just happened before 2-3 days. It's have one new update. So by using, if you have one latest Android Studio, then you can have this preview. hard coded string. So is same as color preview. What if you have mentioned thousands of string in your strings.xml file, and what if you are using any string resource in your activity class? For example, get string r.string. Any string name. So you don't know what is the string actually. Variable name is the different, value is the different. Clear? Variable name and value. For example, as usual, what software engineer do? Integer ijk for running a loop. Are you all doing integer ijk? So I exactly contains what value? So here we can have better idea that this r.string test string contains test value. Test the value, it will give you a value, a preview of exact value in your activity class. I will give you a demo of this whole stuff. Alert, potential null pointer exception. For example, you are using a string file, and if you haven't given any value to your string value inside strings.xml, so it will give you a null pointer exception. There is a chance of null pointer exception, so please be aware. So here, these are some different and awesome stuffs in Android Studio. Rendering problem. As I mentioned, a lean tool. Lean tool gives you a issue. Lean tool by using lean tool analysis tool. So here, I just have written this button code and haven't completed button tag. So it is giving me here that you are having some issues in your buttons and in your layout. Clear? At the time of writing a code, it is not there in Eclipse. It will slap you after you closing your XML or save at the time of saving. Now here, create landscape variation. It is one of the best feature. Like for example, I am having Android application with let's say 50 layouts. Now client is asking for landscape orientation and landscape support. So what should I do? Or what you will do? You will create landscape layouts by using by labor work. So here we are having a direct facility that we can create landscape variation of the same layout that we are using. So you have to go to this preview title, preview, and create landscape variation. So it will create a landscape for layout for your portrait layout. So at the same time of designing portrait layout, you will be having two layouts, portrait and landscape. In which folder contains landscape layouts? Name of the folder? Anyone? Question is which folder where we are storing landscape folders. We are having layout folder for storing all the layouts, but let me give you answer. For storing landscape version of layouts, you are having layout -land folder where you can store all your landscape layouts. Yes, if you want to manage if you want to support all the screens, then you may have some different folders for your layouts, like layout -large -land, layout x-large -land. So that landscape layout is for x-large screen. So there way you can have many folders. Now here are some keyboard shortcuts. Is how many of you are using mouse clicker? Click to file button and select option. Click to this menu and select option. And how many of you are fan of shortcut? Using shortcut directly, Ctrl+Shift+F, it will reformat your code. Ctrl+Shift+O, it will organize import. Instead of finding out imports and deleting and managing. So here are some keyboard shortcuts. First is Control Shift F, Control Shift N. What if I want to go to particular file? Instead of clicking in project structure and finding out that file and clicking on that file, I can directly go to strings.xml by using go to file, Control Shift N. Yes, these all options are different. Keyboard shortcuts may be different for MacBook Pro. So I will give you a link. It will give you a list of all the keyboard shortcuts. So if you are using Windows, it will give you Windows shortcuts. If you are using Linux, it will give you shortcuts for Linux, and the same for MacBook. And what if I want to go to a particular class? So here we have Control N. Control N is the shortcut. I can go directly to any class. So now renaming. Shift F6 is the renaming. Like instead of clicking on that, what is the advantage of this shortcut? For example, you have defined one variable. Let's say integer counter equals to 15, and you have used this counter variable in whole activity class, let's say 50 times. So now what you will do?
This will be expected every.
What most of the students do, find out variable and then replace new variable name, So if you are working in a large project, you have to do this activity for 50 or as many times as you have used variables. So here we are having advantage of using shift axis variable shortcut. By using this shortcut, you can directly rename all of your variable instances. Now get documentation. What if I want documentation for a particular function or particular thing? Let's say I don't know, I am a beginner and I don't know about onCreate class, onCreate function. So I will click Control Q on that onCreate class, onCreate function, and it will give you a official documentation. Same like our Java door. Maybe Java programmer are sitting here and fan of Java door. So now the question is, I am sure I have made you confused which IDE to use. You are all using Eclipse, and I have given introduction to Android Studio. So now I am sure you are in a situation like which IDE to use. Paresh is saying use Android Studio, and you are using Eclipse. So here we are having Android developer having different frameworks, or we can say different tools to develop application. First is IntelliJ IDEA, Android Studio, Eclipse, and now earlier they have given this one edited Android developer tools. So we are having 4 tools to start with Android development. So which one to use? Sorry. So now, as I mentioned, slide is interchanged with one previous slide. So here we are having keyboard shortcuts. Help, default key map reference. It will, if you are using Windows, it will give you all the shortcuts. So be a fan of keyboard shortcut. It will increase your productivity time instead of finding out and going to menu and select any option. Now, should I use Android Studio? Should I use? So as I have mentioned, please no, it's not the right time, because right now we are having iOS 13 earlier version, preview version. So it's getting matured day by day. So once it is in a mature version, we will be using. Right now, use edit tool or IntelliJ IDEA. Continue with the steps. Just get in touch with all the updates. Like I have mentioned, color preview in your activity class. It was just happened before 2 days only. So now these all are the links I have mentioned in my slide. Let me give you a live demo. please don't. How many of you want this slide? No one wants? Then thank you so much. Having any question? Any question? No? That's cool. I have made all the parts clear.